in the foundation phase, you may feel like that I'm wasting my time. So April to July, the foundation phase, this is very important because if you don't build a strong foundation, ultimately your building of UPSC is going to collapse sooner or later. That is what I owe to writing. So you can dedicate 1 month each to each GS. Don't overdo it, don't underdo it. 1 month does not mean you have to complete the GS in 1 month only. It's okay if you complete it in 15 days. It's okay if you complete it in 45 days. For the very long period, for whole 1 year of my preparation, I didn't write a single answer. That is where things went south for me. I can see where things are working for me, what things are not working for me. Because optional, as I've said it multiple times, that it is the depth of the understanding which will give you marks in optional. But if you write answers from the very basic stage, that is here, you will be confident there. You have something to fall back on. That this is what I used to be, this is what I am now. So the comparison gives you an extra edge on yourself and on others also. So this is a very important thing, because in GS you'll have to know something about everything, but in optional you have to know everything about some things which are mentioned in the syllabus of UPSC. So this is the make and break for you, where it will be decided, are you going to write the mains or not. Miss, because CSAT is where many people fail, irrespective of the fact they are getting say 140, 150 in GS. But CSAT is very important. This is the revision phase, and this is where you have to control your nerves. So I personally suggest you to not burden yourself with too much study in May at least. So in my opinion, this is my humble advice, that even if you're appearing for 28, 29, 27 and 30 and any attempt after that, just make a cycle like this, plan 1 year and be ready within that year. Hello everyone, in this session I'll tell you what according to me is the best strategy for students or aspirants who are preparing for 2027, 28, 29 or any attempt after that. Because I've been asked by so many people that what strategy should we follow, what you followed. So personally my strategy was a hit and trial strategy. Moreover, I failed in first 2 attempts because I didn't have a good strategy. So this is something I would like to contribute to solve for you. Let's begin with it. So to start with, as we know, we are already in April. So if you start from very today and you are a beginner for say you don't know anything about UPSC, so I'll suggest you April to July should be your foundation phase. And by foundation, I don't mean that joining any foundation course and going to classes there. For foundation, what I mean is to understand what is the UPSC asking you, what is the UPSC taking from you. In short, you'll have to understand about the syllabus of UPSC, the pattern of exam, how the exam is conducted, what is the difference between pre, mains, say interview stage, what are the sources that you are going to refer to, who are the teachers you're going to refer to, and moreover. So one thing I'd like to say here is, in the foundation phase, you may feel like that I'm wasting my time. Because am I learning anything? Is it actually helping me? But trust me, when I see my foundation phase, maybe I was not very say studious in that phase. कि मैंने पढ़ा नहीं बहुत बार. I just went whole day analyzing say PYQs or syllabus. But when you do that, it will make your foundation very strong. So when you are in the advanced stage of your preparation, you don't have to hover here and there. So what I've written here is, don't rush. It may seem like we are wasting a time, but actually you're building a strong foundation for yourself. So April to July, join a foundation batch, do YouTube videos. There are plenty of free YouTube videos which will tell you what UPSC is. There will be motivational videos. It's okay if you watch a few of them. Don't say romanticize about them, but say 1 or 2 videos you can watch to get a rough idea about what are you subscribing for. So April to July, the foundation phase. This is very important because if you don't build a strong foundation, ultimately your building of UPSC is going to collapse sooner or later. So you should focus on your strengths. So for example, in this phase, you may discover that say polity is a very good subject and you like it, you can score good marks in it. So then later on when you are studying polity, actually you will approach to the subject in a way that it will help you to score marks and reduce the flaws which you may have done earlier or you may have committed in say any other subject. So the foundation phase, which is important to understand the game and not winning it, as I mentioned here. the second phase, which will start from August to December, that is mains plus answer writing phase, because you have to admit it, if you don't write good answers, you won't score marks in mains. Be it any other stage, you can compromise on writing, because in prelims, exactly, there is no writing at all. In interview, there is no writing at all. But mains is all about writing. I am standing here because I have good marks in mains. That is what I owe to writing. Because if I haven't written, say, questions, I myself have written more than 1,000 questions. That is where my speed, my strength has developed, and I actually developed the understanding of what UPSC has to ask. So you have to prepare for mains like you have already been selected for appearing to mains. It is that you have not already appeared for prelims here in August to December, but you have to prepare for mains. As in, you have to say, here you have around 5 months. So you can dedicate 1 month each to each GS. Don't overdo it, don't underdo it. 1 month does not mean you have to complete the GS in 1 month only. It's okay if you complete it in 15 days. It's okay if you complete it in 45 days, because some GS demand more. Say GS1, many things will be say coming from prelims point of view also. Your prelims knowledge will help you much there. But GS4, it is fully GS. It is only where the mains where you prepare for GS4 from exam point of view. So what I personally suggest you is start from 4, 3, 2 and then 1, because GS4 is purely mains. You read it, you understand it, you write questions about it, and then it's okay if you somewhat forget about it also in later stages, because when you revise it in your, say, gap period, or when you'll be writing answer copies or you're writing test series, you'll eventually remember it again. But you have to do GS1 at the last, because it will help you in the prelims, which is the next phase of the very preparation. So if you're giving attempt of 27, 28 or 29, you have time. That is a very precious thing. So if you have time, use it like a pro. Don't waste the time, don't overdo it, but do it in the exact manner. Here you have to select your sources, from which source you have to study which subject, which teacher is the one which you are most connected with. Are you willing to go for a coaching or not? It is okay if you self-study, it is okay if you attend a coaching. This is where you have to analyze everything for yourself. And answer writing is the most important part for this period, because it is where you develop these skills and manage your time. Because I myself made this mistake for the very long period. For whole 1 year of my preparation, I didn't write a single answer. That is where things went south for me, because I was not able to complete my questions on time. I was not able to understand the demand of the question. I'm not saying that the very first answer you will write will be something which will define your answer for later on. But the sooner you start writing answers, the most you will make out of it. That is for sure. I'm guaranteeing you. And it is in this phase where you will work upon your optional. So in the beginning of this phase itself, you have to find that what is the optional subject which you are most connected to, which teacher you will choose for it, what test series are you going to take for it. That is everything you have to decide here. You can say wander around more and more optional. If I have doubt in, say, 3 optionals, I can attend a few classes of those optional. I can see where things are working for me, what things are not working for me. Because optional, as I've said it multiple times, that it is the depth of the understanding which will give you marks in optional. Because in GS, you'll have to know something about everything. But in optional, you have to know everything about some things which are mentioned in the syllabus of UPSC. So the period of August to December is mains and answer writing phase. Also, you have to identify and prepare for an optional here. You have to prepare and ace it like you are appearing for mains in the January. Because as December ends, you will have to shift towards prelims. If you are good in prelims, if you are confident in prelims, then okay, it's okay if you give January also to mains. But here is where you have to work hardest, because mains marks are ultimately what will be making you a civil servant in future and deciding your rank up to a very much extent. So one more thing I'd like to add here is, when you write answers, it is not that you will write perfect answers here, because the gap between prelims and mains is where you actually realize what a good answer is and how to write it. But if you write answers from the very basic stage, that is here, you will be confident there. You have something to fall back on, that this is what I used to be, this is what I am now. So the comparison gives you an extra edge on yourself and on others also. So this is a very important thing. Also in this phase, I'd suggest that you write one essay on at least every Sunday. So this is how your essay writing skills will work. So one essay on every Sunday in this phase or in every phase, this will give you a creative edge in essays also. Because if you write multiple essays, thinking in your mind will develop that how essays are are going to be for you. Is essay your strength? Is essay not your strength? Because there are many people who don't score very good marks in essay. That is why their rank ultimately falls. So essay is one very important thing where make or break situation can happen. So August to December is dedicated mains and answer writing phase. You have to be ready for mains as if you are going to write mains the very next day. So the next stage is the January to April phase. That this will be the January to April of 2027. If you are 28 aspirants, you are going to give your prelims, mains in the next year. But if you are a 27 aspirant, you will be writing your mains and prelims this very year. So this is the make and break for you, where it will be decided, are you going to write the mains or not. So prelims is all about elimination. When you learn to eliminate, you're actually eliminating your chances to not getting selected. So in this phase, I personally suggested wholly to prelims, because as I did in August to December, I was comfortable in mains. I wrote answer, I joined a test series, I analyzed the tests. I think I was good to go for prelims, because prelims was particularly an area where I was very weak. So in this phase, I'll say CSAT is a very important thing which you should not miss, because CSAT is where many people fail, irrespective of the fact they are getting say 140, 150 in GS. But CSAT is very important, and managing your calm in the CSAT is very important. If you are some person like me who does not have a mathematics background, CSAT is something which you have to start from very beginning. If it is okay if you start it before January also, because sometimes it will take you more than say 2 or 3 months to ace the CSAT and say what are you going to do for the CSAT. But in the January to April phase, which is the prelims phase, what you have to do is to shift to full prelims focus mode. Read, revise. I've written read twice and revise thrice, because reading is where you don't learn things, but revising is where you learn things, and what you revise, you exactly remember that in the exam. For example, I revised geography NCERTs of class 11th and 12th for 3 or 4 times. So when I saw a question which came directly from say physical geography or Indian geography in the exam, I just went back to my preparation phase. I remembered, yes, this page, this line, this tick. So this is what will help you to revise. I'm repeating it again. In this phase of prelims, revision is very important, because the more you revise, the more you will remember, and the more you will try to eliminate from that revision. So you can join a test series. You can plan your revision according to that. Joining a test series is important because it will make a discipline for you, and you will be consistent around your planning. I won't say that join from January itself. You can join a month later or anything. And if you're not comfortable in joining a test series, you can just say do PYQs and questions yourself. And here the very important thing one is the current affairs part. I'll talk about it, but current affair is something which UPSC always asks. It is the non-negotiable part. You cannot compromise on current affairs. Read the yearly compilations which comes for current affair, and not that key question will come from that compilation, but if you read current affairs and you have a refreshing edge over it, it will give you an advantage that, again I repeat, you will be able to eliminate nicely in the prelims paper. And then you should analyze your test in PYQs very thoroughly, because when you analyze your test, it's okay if you, what will be the worst case scenario if you attempt a test? Whole 100 questions will be good. But if you attempt 100 wrong questions and at least learn 50 new things, that is what is going to help you ultimately in prelims. Because you can be wrong here, but you can't be wrong there. So attempt as much as tests you can, attempt as many as questions you can, but the most important thing is to analyze that then and there. Don't leave it for tomorrow that I'll analyze or I'll say read about this test tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. I have friends who still have a bundle of tests they have to analyze, and it is say April again. They were the tests they used to give in April last year. So don't leave it for tomorrow. Analyze your test. It is very important. It's okay if you take 3 hours, 4 hours. It's okay. At least you are learning something. You can afford a mistake here, but you can't afford a mistake there. So prelims phase should be about revising, revising and revising again. I'm repeating it again. Revise as much as you can. Go to your basic source. Go to Lakshmikant. Go to NCRTs. Go to your notes which you made for prelims and revise them again and again. Don't read anything new. The reading part should be done in the January and February only. Don't read anything new after that. March, April and whatever May is, you have to revise it. It's okay if you read any one source only, but the important thing is you revise it more than thrice. If you revise more than thrice, the one source will help you as good as reading 5 sources. So this is the January to April phase. A small phase remains here also. That is the May 2027, the actual month where your result is being made. So this is not the actual study phase. This is the revision phase, and this is where you have to control your nerves. Because if you lose control over yourself on that day, no matter how good you are in prelims, no matter how good you are in mains, it will all fall apart. And that day, if you fail on that day to perform, this will give you, say, a setback for the whole life and the whole, at least the next coming year. This has personally happened to me. So I personally suggest you to not burden yourself with too much study in May at least. You can stop, say, giving tests, but you can shift to PYQs, because UPSC PYQs does follow a trend. Sure, there are questions which are, say, bouncers. It is bouncer for everyone. But most of the questions in UPSC are there based on some pattern or trend which was also followed earlier. So it is your work to analyze and find that. The most important thing for the late night study people is, just like me, that you have to start waking up early here and fix your, say, punctured sleep cycle. Because if you don't wake up fresh on that day, no matter how good prepared you are, you'll fall apart. So at least 1 month before the exam, you have to improve your sleep cycle, to wake up early. I'd suggest attempt at least, say, GS and CSAT test on the exact timing where the actual exam is going to happen. This will be like a warm-up exercise for your mind. And one more thing you can analyze for yourself here is how many questions you have to attempt in actual paper. One mistake I did was, earlier I used to attempt very less questions, say 50, 60 or 70 questions at max. My thinking was that I was accurate in that questions, this will work for me. But my friends ultimately helped me to realize that it is important to attempt as much as questions you can, because cutoff is not going to be, say, somewhat 150 or 200 marks. It will hover max to max around 100 marks. So this gives you scope to attempt more questions. It's okay if you think attempting less questions work for you, but I'd suggest once try to attempt more questions and see how it works for you. I was also of a mindset that attempting less questions works for me, but ultimately this year I attempted 97 questions and it worked for me. So May 27, I'll repeat again, it is all about controlling your nerves and not studying more and more. It is about relaxing, being in a good frame of mind and opening your warrior mode and go for the exam and revise as much as you can. Because revision of the, say, earlier tests, earlier points you had, the current affairs part is very important. And for those who are preparing for, say, 28, 29 and 30 and so on, this is the time when you will repeat the cycle of mains again. It is not that if you have 2 years, you can give, say, 3 months to a GS or 2 months for a GS. Because GS in mains has a particular syllabus which has to be completed in a particular frame of time period only. If you give more than time to that, then you will just create burden on yourself to read more and more sources, which will ultimately be counterproductive. So in my opinion, this is my humble advice, that even if you're appearing for 28, 29, 27 and 30 and any attempt after that, just make a cycle like this, plan 1 year and be ready within that year. Because when you, say, give more time to yourself, our mind naturally tends to hover here and there, and then we are trapped in ultimately the jal of too many sources, and we just forget what the essence actually was. So if you're 27 aspirants, I have made a timeline for you. If you're 28, 29, 30 aspirants, repeat that timeline again. There are say very great educators and people on YouTube who had made very detailed and precise timetables also. You can follow them. I also saw a few videos which helped me to build my micro plan. The most important thing you need to have is a macro plan and a micro plan. This is not something which I will tell you or anyone else will tell you. You'll have to have a micro plan कि एक साल में मेरे को क्या करना है. What I have to do it in this month, this week. This is a macro plan. And micro plan is something which you make in one go also and daily also. For example, if you are deciding it for this month or this week or this day, that is a micro plan. Okay, in today I have to do this. In this week I have to complete this. In this month I have to complete my GS. These are the two types of plan you should have for yourself, and this will ultimately help you. Again, there are some things which cannot be divided into say time frames or phases. There are some things which have to be continued throughout. The first is current affairs. I'd suggest you to be on current affair at least daily. Not that you dedicate say 2 or 3 hours of your day to current affairs, but whatever is happening around you, whatever is coming in papers, in news, be it a short video of current affairs which teachers upload on YouTube, you go through it and keep refreshing your memory of current affairs. I don't suggest personally making daily notes of current affairs. What you can do is just go through current affairs, and in the end of month, just take a monthly compilation or watch a monthly video and make notes of these things which you in current affairs which you think are important and have developed fully, because there are few current affairs, for example say West Asia issue or Russia-Ukraine issue. These are some current affairs which have been developing for say more than 1 week or 1 month or 1 year period of time. So you'll have to differentiate in the type of current affairs, and ultimately I'll say monthly you can make notes of current affairs or weekly, but not daily. For me that wouldn't work because it will create load on you. But current affair is one thing which have to be continued daily also, weekly also, monthly also, and at the last, when you are in the last phase of your preparation, you have to see the yearly compilation of current affairs, be it a magazine, be it your own notes, be it a video, but you have to watch current affairs. Then second is making notes and editing them. So as you study, you understand that this is something which I am remembering, this is something which I tend to forget. So if there is something you tend to forget, just make notes about that and keep on editing them. Because if you are reading polity, for example, you're reading one particular subject or one particular topic from polity, you make notes for it. Then if you're giving it a second reading, then you realize that I have remembered these things and I have not remembered these things. So you can cut short them, that this is now my notes. So personally what happened for me is I started with 200 pages notes of polity, and on the very end day of polity, I had say 15 to 20 pages, both for pre and mains. That worked for me. So, and ultimately I cut shorted it to 1 or 2 pages for ultimate day. So because you cannot read 200 pages on one day before exam. What you have to do is keep making notes, be it running notes, be it different notes, but you have to keep editing them. You have to say your notes will evolve with you, and what evolution your notes have been through is ultimately the kind of answers or say attempt you are going to give, because a very, very good part of your answers comes from your notes. Then third is keep revising. I have repeated it enough time, but I like to repeat it again also, that you have to revise again and again. There are some non-negotiables like Lakshmikant for prelims, say geography NCRTs, your very own notes for mains, and the say thinkers of ethics, your answers, your PYQs. You have to keep revising it. There may be some things which you tend to forget, because for me, I still have confusion in say what are P waves, S waves, which one of them is longitudinal, which is transverse. But if you revise them again and again, you will remember it on that day. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but if you keep revising them, it will work for you. Then fourth, fifth, and sixth point are generally for your mental sanity. You can take a break. You have to, and I'd say you should follow a hobby for yourself, and you should stay connected to yourself. Because in this journey, people tend to get alienated from themselves also. Because there will be a time when you will feel that this is not me. Is this what I'm made for? And there will be numerous philosophical questions like that. But if you stay connected to your friends, your family, you follow a hobby for yourself, and you take break in say good particular period of time, that is where the burnout phase will not come earlier. Because if you burn out before the exams, you are definitely going to fail in the exam. So burnout should only come after you have attempted that exam. So to resist the burnout, or to keep yourself away from burning out, you will have to follow a hobby for yourself. You can take breaks, and you can scroll reels once in a while. That is completely okay. I did it, you can do it. And to end with, I'd leave you with a quote that cold water does not get warmer if you don't jump. Be it 27, 28, 29 or 30, if you want to prepare for UPSC, start now. Keep repeating it, keep revising it, keep writing answer, keep analyzing PYQs, and don't hesitate to ask for help, be it me, be it anyone else, be it a mentor, be it a teacher. It is very good if you take a help. I personally take this very moment to thank my friends who helped me. Sandesh Jain, AIR 161, was one person who was always available for me. So find a Sandesh for yourself. He'll definitely help you. So thank you all.